On March 8, 2026, the United States military fired a precision-guided Tomahawk missile directly into an elementary school in Iran and killed over 100 children. If that sentence did not make you stop scrolling, I do not know what will. This is not propaganda. This is not exaggeration. This actually happened. Amnesty International investigated it. The New York Times confirmed it. Satellite imagery proves it. And what they found is so disturbing that you need to hear every single detail, because this might be one of the biggest war crimes of the 21st century, and almost nobody is talking about it. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what happened. You will see the evidence that proves the US did this. You will understand how artificial intelligence played a role in these deaths, and you will know why no one is being held accountable. This is not easy to watch, but you need to know the truth. Hit subscribe right now, because videos like this get buried by the algorithm. Let me set the scene for you. The city of Minab, it is in southeastern Iran, in Hormozgan province, about 1,500 miles south of Tehran. It is not a major city, population around 60,000. Mostly normal people living normal lives. Farmers, shopkeepers, teachers, families. On March 8th, it is a regular school day. Kids wake up, eat breakfast, put on their uniforms, and go to class. This is an elementary school. We are talking about children aged 6 to 12 years old. Little girls with backpacks and lunchboxes. The school is located about 240 feet from an Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps compound. The IRGC is Iran's elite military force. So yes, there is a military facility nearby, but the school has been there for years. Everyone in the area knows it is a school. Comment below if you remember what you were doing on March 8th. 10:45 in the morning, local time. Classes are in session. Math lessons, reading, science. Then the air raid sirens start. Iran has been under attack for over a week at this point. Sirens are almost constant. Some people run to shelters. Some people stay put because there have been so many false alarms. The kids in this school probably did not even have time to react, because at 10:45 a.m., a Tomahawk cruise missile traveling at 550 miles per hour slams directly into the western half of the school building. The impact is massive. Tomahawk missiles carry a 1,000-pound warhead, that is half a ton of explosives. The western half of the school building collapses instantly. Concrete, metal, desks, everything comes down. The roof pancakes straight down. That is what happens with a direct airstrike. The building does not explode outward, it collapses inward, crushing everything underneath. If this is making you angry, smash that like button right now. When the dust settles, rescue workers rush in. What they find is a nightmare. Bodies everywhere, children buried under rubble, teachers dead, blood on the walls, backpacks scattered. 168 people are confirmed dead. The majority of them, over 100, are children. Little girls who went to school that morning and never came home. Their parents are still looking for them in hospitals, in morgues, in the rubble. Can you imagine? You drop your daughter off at school, you say have a good day, I love you, and a few hours later she is gone, killed by a missile fired from a warship 1,000 miles away, by people who never saw her face, who did not know her name, who just pushed a button and ended her life. Share this video with anyone who thinks war does not kill innocent people. Now here is where the evidence gets rock solid. Amnesty International sent a team to investigate. They are a globally recognized human rights organization. They do not take sides. They just document facts. They collected videos from the scene. They analyzed photos from Iranian state media. They looked at satellite imagery before and after the strike. And most importantly, they examined missile fragments found at the site. The fragments are clearly identifiable. Distinctive wings, large squared fins, serial numbers. It is a Tomahawk cruise missile, made in America, used exclusively by the United States military in this conflict, not Israel, just the US. There is zero ambiguity here. This was an American weapon, type USA, if you think America needs to take responsibility for this. Tomahawk missiles are not dumb bombs. These are not World War II-era explosives that you drop from a plane and hope they land somewhere close to the target. Tomahawks are precision-guided cruise missiles. They cost about $2 million each. They have GPS navigation. They have terrain mapping systems. They have digital scene matching technology that compares what the missile sees to satellite photos so it knows exactly where it is. These missiles can fly hundreds of miles, navigate around obstacles, and hit a target within 10 feet of where you aim them. The military loves to brag about this. They say we can fly a tomahawk through a specific window of a specific building, so when a tomahawk hits an elementary school, it is not an accident. It is not a miss. The missile went exactly where it was programmed to go. Subscribe if you think this was intentional targeting or if you think it was a massive screw-up. Satellite imagery tells the full story. Amnesty International got access to commercial satellite photos. On February 28th at 10:23 a.m., the school is still standing. No damage. Kids are probably in class. By early afternoon on the same day, the school is destroyed. Half of it is rubble. You can see the debris field. You can see the impact crater. The satellite also shows the IRGC compound right next to the school. And here is the key detail. The compound was also hit. 12 other structures inside the compound were struck. But the school was not collateral damage from those strikes. The school was individually targeted. It was hit by its own missile separately from the compound strikes. That means someone looked at targeting data, saw a school 74 meters from a military base, and decided to bomb both. Comment below if you think someone knew this was a school, or if you think they genuinely did not know. So how does this happen? How does the most advanced military in human history bomb an elementary school? The New York Times got access to a preliminary Pentagon investigation. According to their sources, the strike was based on outdated intelligence. What does that mean? It means the targeting data the US was using was old, maybe weeks old, maybe months old. The intelligence said that location was a military facility, but they did not verify it with current information. They did not check recent satellite photos. They did not have human intelligence on the ground confirming what the building was actually being used for. They just looked at old data, assumed it was still accurate, and launched the missile. If you think that is incompetence, drop a comment saying incompetence. But it gets so much worse. On March 11th, Central Command, the Pentagon division running this war, held a press briefing. The commander, Brad Cooper, admitted that they are using advanced artificial intelligence to process large amounts of data related to targeting. Let me say that again. AI is helping decide what gets bombed. Algorithms are analyzing intelligence reports, satellite images, communications intercepts, and then recommending targets to human operators, and humans are approving those targets without thoroughly checking them. This is what just happened. An AI system looked at data about Minab. It saw the IRGC compound. It flagged the area as a military target. It probably did not distinguish between the military buildings and the school 74 meters away. Or maybe the data it was trained on was old and showed that location as a military facility. Either way, the AI said bomb this. A human looked at the recommendation, did not question it, and approved the strike. Hit that subscribe button if you think AI should not be making life and death decisions. Over 100 children are dead because a computer made a mistake and a human did not catch it. This is the future of warfare. The US military is obsessed with AI right now. They think it gives them an advantage. Faster targeting, more efficiency, less risk to American lives. But what about the risk to everyone else? What about the kids in that school? AI does not understand context. It does not see a little girl with a backpack. It sees a heat signature, a building shape, a GPS coordinate, and when it gets it wrong, people die. The Pentagon will tell you there are humans in the loop. That means a person has to approve what the AI recommends. But if the human just rubber stamps whatever the computer says, what is the point? We just automated murder. Share this with anyone who thinks technology always makes things better. Now let me tell you about the Pentagon's response because it will make your blood boil. For 3 days after the strike, the Pentagon said nothing. Total silence. Reporters started asking questions. Hey, did you guys bomb a school in Minab? The Pentagon press secretary said, we are aware of reports of civilian casualties. We take all reports seriously. We are looking into it. That is it. No confirmation, no details, no apology. 3 days later, after Amnesty International released their preliminary findings, the Pentagon admitted there was a strike in that area. But they said they could not confirm the casualty numbers. They said they were reviewing the incident. Then on March 14th, the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, did a press conference. A reporter asked directly about the school bombing. Hegseth said, we are trying to clarify those numbers. Type liar. If you think the Pentagon knows exactly what happened and is covering it up. Trying to clarify those numbers. 168 people are dead. Over 100 of them are children. Iran has published names. Families are burying their kids. Amnesty International has documented it. The New York Times confirmed it, and the Pentagon is trying to clarify the numbers. No apology, no acceptance of responsibility, no promise to do better, just bureaucratic double-speak. This is how the US military operates. Deny until you cannot deny anymore. Admit the minimum. Promise an investigation. Never actually punish anyone. Move on. It happened in Iraq. It happened in Afghanistan. It happened in Syria. It happened in Yemen. And now it is happening in Iran. If you are furious right now, hit that like button. Here is the legal question nobody wants to answer. Is this a war crime? Under international law, specifically the Geneva Conventions, you cannot target civilian infrastructure, schools, hospitals, religious sites, residential areas. They are protected. Even if there is a military target nearby, you have an obligation to avoid civilian casualties. You have to take precautions. You have to verify your intelligence. You have to use proportional force. Bombing a school full of children to take out a military compound next door is not proportional. It is not legal. Amnesty International said in their statement that those responsible for planning and executing this strike must be held accountable. They used the word unlawful. That is human rights organization language for this was a war crime. Comment below if you think anyone will actually be prosecuted for this. But here is reality. The United States has never held its military accountable for war crimes. We have bombed weddings in Afghanistan. We have drone-striked hospitals run by Doctors Without Borders. We have killed thousands of civilians in Iraq. And not a single American general or politician has ever been charged. Why? Because we have something called the Hague Invasion Act. It is an actual US law that says if any American is ever brought before the International Criminal Court for war crimes, the US military is authorized to invade the Netherlands and break them out. I am not joking. That is a real law. So no, nobody will be held accountable for this school bombing. There will be an internal investigation. It will conclude that mistakes were made, new procedures will be recommended, and then the exact same thing will happen in the next war. Subscribe if you think America needs to be held to the same standards as everyone else. Let me tell you what this means for the war. Iran is using this school bombing for everything it is worth. State media is showing the footage on repeat. They are interviewing parents who lost children. They are showing the missile fragments with US markings. They are calling America a terrorist state. And recruitment for anti-American groups just exploded. Every family member of those 168 people is now radicalized. Every Iranian who saw those images is more convinced that America is evil. Every young man in Iran who was on the fence about fighting is now picking up a weapon. This is how terrorism is created. We bomb their civilians. They attack our soldiers. We bomb more civilians in retaliation. They attack more soldiers. The cycle never ends. We have been doing this for 20 years in the Middle East, and we never learn. Hit that notification bell, because I will be covering every update on this story. Internationally, the response has been pathetic. The United Nations issued a statement expressing concern. Over 100 dead children, and the UN is concerned. They did not call for an investigation. They did not condemn the US. They did not demand accountability. Just concern. Why? Because the United States has veto power on the UN Security Council. We can block any resolution against us. So the UN is toothless. Russia and China condemned the strike, but everyone knows they are just using it for propaganda points. They do not actually care about dead Iranian kids. They care about making America look bad. US allies like the UK, France, Germany, Canada, mostly silent, because they are stuck. They cannot defend bombing a school. That is indefensible. But they also do not want to publicly criticize the US during an active war. So they say nothing and hope the story goes away. Share this if you think the international community is full of cowards. Here is what scares me about this. This school bombing is not an isolated incident. It is a preview of the future. The US military is investing billions of dollars into artificial intelligence for warfare, autonomous drones, AI targeting systems, robotic soldiers. They think this is the future, and maybe it is. But if AI is already making mistakes that kill children, what happens when we give AI even more power? What happens when there is no human in the loop at all? What happens when a computer decides who lives and dies, and there is nobody to question it? We are sleepwalking into a nightmare, and nobody is paying attention. If this video is making you think, drop a comment with your thoughts right now. Let me connect the dots for you. This war started because the US said Iran was close to building a nuclear weapon. Trump said we had to act now or Iran would have a nuke within weeks, so we bombed them. But in the process of trying to stop a hypothetical future threat, we have killed over 1,300 Iranians in 17 days. We have displaced hundreds of thousands of Lebanese. We have crashed the global oil market. We have injured 200 American troops. And we have bombed a school full of children. At what point do we ask if the cure is worse than the disease? At what point do we say maybe there was a better way to handle this? Diplomacy, sanctions, negotiations. Instead, we chose bombs. And now over 2,200 people are dead, and the war is not even close to over. Type enough if you think this war needs to end immediately. Here is what happens next, and you need to prepare for it. Iran is not going to let this go. They cannot. Their population is furious. Their government has to respond. They will launch more missiles. They will keep the Strait of Hormuz closed. They will attack more US bases, and the US will bomb more targets. More civilians will die. More infrastructure will be destroyed. And eventually, maybe months from now, both sides will be so exhausted and broke that they agree to talk. But by then, thousands more will be dead. And for what? So we could say we stopped Iran from maybe building a nuke that they might have used someday? Meanwhile, we have definitely killed over 100 children with a missile guided by artificial intelligence. Subscribe because I will keep telling this story even when everyone else forgets. 168 people went to school or work on March 8th and never came home. They had names, they had families, they had dreams, and they are gone because an algorithm made a targeting recommendation and a human pushed a button without checking. This is what modern war looks like. Clean, distant, efficient. You do not see the bodies, you do not hear the screams. You just see a successful strike on a military target in a PowerPoint presentation. But the bodies are real, the blood is real. The parents crying over their children are real, and the fact that almost nobody is talking about this is the most disturbing part of all. Hit that like button if you think this story deserves to go viral.